Okay, we're going to draw the original sine graph first. Okay, I will be a bit nagging. It will overrun definitely for today. Okay, if I'm going to draw for the basic, which is the y equals to sine x, this is the default sine graph. So let's find out what's my amplitude first. My amplitude will be the number in front of this one, which is 1 for this case. Okay, then I need to find my period. The period is depending on whether is it from 0 to 2 pi or is it from 0 to 360. So since this is 360, it will be in degree. I mean, not necessary because this is 360. It's always fixed at 360 degree divided by the number in front of the x. For this case, is 1. So 360 divided by 1, it gives me 360. Okay, I take note. Just now I take back my words. I don't know whether you're confused. This is always fixed at 360 degree, regardless of whether this one is 180 or is it 720. Okay, this is just a range to tell me that I need to draw my graph, draw until where. You understand? Okay, but period is always, this one is always fixed at 360 degree. The only changing is this number over here, which is the number in front of x. So my period is 360. So what does period mean? It means that in 360 degree, I will see one cycle. One cycle. Okay, and then of course you need to ask yourself whether there's any shift. Okay, shift means whether you got a plus or whether you got a minus. Okay, when you have a plus means your graph shift up. When you have a minus means your graph shift down. So for this case, it's plus 0 in other words, there's no shift. Okay, so no shift means it will sit nicely at the x-axis. So let's start to draw this basic first. Okay, this is y, this is x. And because they asked me to draw up to 360, that means I only need to draw one cycle. So you see here, a lot of students, when they draw Trigo graph, the proportion of the graph is like very, not here, not there. So the trick is this, first, we always draw, even they ask us to draw 2 cycles, we always draw one cycle at a time. So for this case, I only need to draw one cycle. So let's draw one cycle and I shall put 360 degree. Here, I want you to cut into 4 parts. So how do you draw cut into 4 parts is 360, you cut half first. So you know it's 180. Cut another half, you know it's 90. So you know your one interval is 90. 180 plus 90, so this is 270 degree. Okay. So we have this already, you have all interval. Next is you need to know your amplitude. Your amplitude is 1, right? So the maximum is 1, the minimum is 1. So over here, put 1. Over here, put -1. Although it's sketching, okay, please make sure all these okay, usually I always ask my student, because you draw on full sketch for sketching, you can actually always maybe say put this one 2 cm, 2 cm, 2 cm, 2 cm. So at least you know the proportion is there. And then over here, here and here must be around the same lah. Okay, if one small one up, I think my one a bit singing. Okay. Okay, so this is -1. Okay, now see here, you need to plot 5 points. Okay, it start from 0, right? This is the first point. It start from 0. Then it go up to maximum at 90 degrees. So you need to here, maximum. It come back to 0 at 180. So you mark here. It go down to minimum at 270. Okay. Then after it go back to 0 at 360. So this is the 5 critical points you need to plot. Then you'll be able to draw the shape nicely. So of course, you'll be like that, then like that. On my free hand, difficult to draw here. So this is how you look. This is how the graph looks. Then you will label this as y equals to sine x. Okay, this is the default sine graph, which is the basic one. Okay, very basic one. Okay, so I'm going to remove and then we're going to draw about this 4 sine x. Okay, 4 sine x. Okay, I'm going to change. So this just changed to 4, right? The only change is my amplitude become 4. My period still remain as 360. So actually I can use the same graph. Okay, and then the shift is still 0. The only change is what? My amplitude is 4, maximum is 4, my minimum is -4. So I just need to change this to 4 and change this to -4. And of course, this one is like that. Y equals to 4 sine x. I'm done with my drawing. That's for A. Okay. So before I go to the cosine graph, let me talk about this one. Okay, let me erase this graph first. Y equals to 2 sine x plus 5. Okay, same thing, go through the process. Amplitude. Amplitude is always the number in front of the sign. I don't care about this 5. This 5 only affect my shift. Okay, the amplitude is 2. My period for this case is still 360 divided by 1. So it's still 360. This time round, there's a shift. It means that your graph shift up by 5. Okay, maybe some school or what, maybe some school teach you all to draw the original graph, then after that you draw the shift up one. Okay, but Trigo graph is already so difficult to draw. I asked me to draw one time, then after need to shift one up and then second time. So I don't do that. So what I do is this. Remember just now the original graph whereby the shift is 0 and the middle is the x-axis, agree? So when there's a shift, what I do is, wait, not very straight. I will find my 5. Okay, draw the dotted line. This is my so-called my new x-axis. Okay, my new x-axis. Then my amplitude is 2, right? So 5 plus 2, my maximum will be 7. 5 minus 2, my minimum will be 3. You understand? The amplitude means the thickness of your graph. So that means from here to here is 2, from here to here is 2. You understand? Okay. Next is, of course, the interval. So the interval, make sure that you always mark on this side. Okay, I draw a bit too long. Later my graph very difficult. Okay. So this is x. So same thing, 360, because I supposed to only draw up to 360 and my period is 360. So I only need to draw one cycle. So same thing, cut half, 180 degree, cut half, 90 degree. This is 0, and then this is 270 degree. Okay, remember just how we said the 5 critical point, right? So this time round, your new x-axis is at the 5 there. So the 0 is so-called at the 5. So first point is here. This is a so-called 0. It go up to maximum at 90 degree. It come down to 0 at 180. It go back to minimum 270. It go back to 0 at 360. So plot the 5 points. Then it's easier for you to draw the shape. So it'll be like that. Yeah. Sorry, whole day teaching already. So dull. Okay, then after that, like that. Okay, so this is the graph for y equals to 2 sine x plus 5. And you're done. You understand? Hey, what happened? Can? Need any further explanation on the sine graph? So this is my sine graph. So cosine graph is actually the same. The only difference is the shape is different. Okay, so I'm not going to touch on this one. I'm going to touch on straight away this one, the one with the sheep. So let's see. Actually, no. Let's change a bit. We go to the one whereby the period is changed. So we can see that first you need to draw from 0 to 2 pi. So the x-axis is no longer 360, 180. This time around it will be 2 pi, pi, and pi over 2. Okay, that's the first thing. Second is you can see that the period will change already. Okay, so let's do our cosine graph. So y equals to 3 cosine 2x. So amplitude 3. This one, the number in front. So the period, this time round is not 360 degrees. The equivalent is 2 pi. So this time round, I'll put 2 pi divided by 2. So it's pi. So my period is pi. And they asked me to draw up to 2 pi. It means that I will have to draw 2 cycles. Okay? Then there's no shift. So for this case, put shift equals to 0. So let's start to draw y and x. Okay, no shift, that means I start from the x-axis. And then this is, remember just now I mentioned that even though they ask me, I have to draw 2 cycles, we always draw 1 cycle at a time. So I'm going to draw 1 cycle first. This is my first cycle, which is pi. Then I will put half, which is pi over 2. And I divide by 2 again. Divide by 2 is the same meaning as times half. So half times half means it's 1/4. So this is just pi over 4. And you know 1 interval is 1/4, right? So the trick is, the trick for this part, you take half, ignore the pi, take the half plus 1/4. So you know this is 3/4. So this is 3 pi over 4. Okay? So then my maximum is 3. My minimum is -3. So now let's plot the critical point. But this is cosine graph. Cosine graph start from maximum, 0, minimum, 0, and then maximum. Okay, so I start from the maximum. I go to 0. I go to minimum at pi over 2. I go back to 0 at 3 pi over 4. And I go back to maximum at pi. Okay, there are a lot of students the way they draw this side are very difficult to draw. They always like become like that. So the trick of drawing this arc is how you visualize this one. You draw like that. Yeah. Right? You visualize this arc. Right? Then you will have this nice arc here. Of course, the left hand side you have to remove. This one is only for you to visualize that this is how we draw the arc. Then after that, you go down to here, you go, and then this is the same thing. You have to have the arc, right? So you have to visualize that you are supposed to draw like that, you understand? But for now this is 1 cycle. So we are done with 1 cycle. Then we're going to continue our second cycle. So remember just now 1 interval is 1/4. So we know that this is 1 whole. 1 whole plus 1/4 is 5 over 4. So this is 5 pi over 4. Then if I plus another 1/4, press calculator, 5 over 4 plus 1/4, it's 3 over 2. So I know this is 3 pi over 2. Then I plus another 1/4, I get 7 pi over 4. Of course, calculator give you 7 over 4, I just put the pi yourself. Then this one, when I plus, of course, it must give me 2 whole, right? So if I plus 1/4, it give me 2 whole. So this is 2 pi. So let's mark the 5 points. So of course, this is the share point. 1 point, 0, minimum, 0, and go up to maximum. So you draw down, draw up, and draw up. And you're done. So this is the cosine graph. So this is y equals to 3 cosine 2x. And we are done with the cosine graph. Can? All good? Okay, I'm not going to talk about question 3AB because I want to talk about tangent graph. But before I go to tangent graph, I want to mention one thing first. So sometimes you can see that when they ask you to sketch, and they put here like that, right? So let me just give an example. Let's say even when I'm drawing for y equals to, let's say, sine x. Then they ask me to only draw from x from 0 to, let's say, 180 degrees. But we know this one, the period is 360 degrees. That means in 360 degrees, you will draw 1 cycle. But they only ask you to draw up to 0 to 180. It means that you only draw half cycle. So drawing half cycle means what? Drawing half cycle means that this is 180 degrees. You don't have to cut into 4 parts already, because it's half cycle only. So you only need 2 parts. So it's 90 degrees and then 0. Maximum 1, and then after that, minimum -1. Okay, so this is sine graph. So start from 0, go up to maximum, it come back to 0. It's only 1 hump. Because sine graph full is like that one. So half of it is just drawing 1 hump. So it's just like that, and you are done. When you're supposed to draw y equals to sine x, and you only draw for up to 180. This is called half a cycle. Okay. They seldom test on tangent graph, but if you're so lucky to gonna the tangent graph, then you also have to know how to draw lah. Okay, let's draw the basic first. Basic means I'm supposed to draw for y equals to tangent x. And so let's say I'm going to draw from 0 degree to 360 degree. First, amplitude. Same thing, amplitude is a number in front of this one, which is 1. Period. Okay, take note on the period for tangent graph. Remember sine and cosine, our period is always 360 degree divided by the number in front of the x. For tangent graph is you have to take 180 degree divide by the number in front, which is 1 for this case. So my one cycle is 180 degree. Okay. Don't worry about tangent graph whether got shift or not. They will not test for tangent graph shift up, shift down. Okay, shift up, shift down will only be tested on the trigo graph, the sine and cosine. Tangent, the most is they only test you on the period as well as the amplitude. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to draw the tangent graph. So draw one cycle, right? Just draw 180 first. Because anyway, I'm going to draw 360. So the one cycle is just put 180. And for tangent graph, only 2 parts. So you cut 90. And this 90 degree, you have to draw the asymptote. Means you're going to draw a dotted line at the 90 degree. Okay? And then how you draw the tangent graph is start from 0. It will be going upwards. And then after that, this one, okay, it's like this asymptote is like a line that you repel. You cannot touch it. It get very close, but it don't touch. Okay? So let's go back to our tangent graph. So once we're done with the first part, of course, we have a second part. So we've got to draw the second part. This one go up like that. Okay, so this is actually one cycle of tangent graph. And then where do you show the amplitude? Okay, you always take the first one 90, go and cut half, which is 45 degree. Then you dot over, which is 1. That is why tangent 45 degree is equals to 1. If you key calculator for tangent 45 is 1. And if you remember, 45 degree is special angle. Tangent 45 is 1. Okay, that's why the only place that you need to show is you put 45 1. And that's all. This is one cycle. But don't forget, they asked me to draw up to 360. So I need to draw one more cycle. So my interval is 90. So 180 plus 90, I have 270 and then 360. So then I have another asymptote at 270. Draw the dotted line, down. This one go up. This one from here to here. And I'm done with the normal tangent graph. This is the y equals to tangent x. Okay, this is y equals to tangent x. All good. I'm going to show the y equals to tangent 3x. Okay, look. So this is the normal graph. So if let's say I change my amplitude, if let's say I put a 2 here, so my amplitude now become 2, right? The only thing you need to change in this, because my period no change, the only thing you need to change in this graph is just change this to 2 and just put a 2 here. That's all. It's like you times 2, you're trying to amplify your graph. That's why the amplitude become 2. That's all. Okay? So now we're going to draw this graph. And they asked me to draw up to 180 only. Okay, let's see. Y equals to tangent 3x. They asked me to draw x to 0 to 180 degree. Okay, I always put this on the right hand side. It's just to remind myself that after I finish all my graph period, amplitude, then I know that I need to draw up to where. Okay. Amplitude in front is 1, so no change. For this case, amplitude is 1. The period will change. The period for a tangent, always the top part is 180. So this is fixed. Divide by the number in front, for this case is 3. So it's 60 degree. So that means your one cycle is 60. This is one cycle. So now let's start to draw. Okay, I'm going to draw 60. Because I need to draw 3 cycles later. So let's shift it. So this is 60. Then remember, my asymptote is just half of 60. So draw O 30 degree and draw the asymptote down. Then this one go up, touch, no, not touch, close to it. Here, up. Okay, this is one cycle. And because the amplitude is 1, so always take the first one, just divide by 2, which is 15 degree. So this one is 1. So I'm done with one cycle. This is one cycle, but they want me to draw up to 180. That means I need to draw 3 cycles in total. So again, like I mentioned, always draw one cycle at a time. So I already know my interval is 30. So 60 plus 30, 90. 90 plus 30, 120. And my next asymptote is here. Same thing from here, like that. Then from here, like that. Then 120 plus 30, 150. 150 plus 30, 180. The next asymptote at 150. Go up and done. So of course, label this as x. And this will be called y equals to tangent 3x. And we're done. All good.